Good. Oh man. Okay. We are live. Hello everybody. Sorry we had some difficulties. I'm gonna give it a minute until it shows up on YouTube. And Ashley will be joining us shortly.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. I see an ad, so we're getting there. Okay. Okay. So, hello. How is everybody doing tonight? Sorry, we're a few minutes late, but some technical issues and the wrong link was sending. Going really, really strong to start. Ashley had a mini baby thing come up, so she'll be here in just a few minutes. She's just running a few minutes late. So, but Laura, if you want to introduce yourself, I don't know if everybody knows you. Laura is a newer booktuber who is going to be co-hosting, which is exciting.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm Laura. I'm from the channel of Book Circus. I don't know what else to say.
What kind of things do you like to read? What?
Big fantasy reader, adult fantasy, YA fantasy. I'm slowly dipping my toes into romance, adult romance. But I like to read a little bit of everything. But fantasy is definitely my main genre.
Awesome. Hey, I'm so glad you agreed to join us for this.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Hey, Jessica. Hi, Leah. Got a lot of people here joining in. Hey, Beth. Hello. How's everybody doing this evening? Yes, it's going to be interesting discussion. We've got some different thoughts, I think. So, hi. Oh, yay. Beth loves your channel. I love it. That's great. So we'll talk a little bit. I don't want to get too deep into it because I mean, until, well, I guess it's going to be, I'll wait till Ashley comes and let her say her thoughts. But she should be on in a few minutes. So, hello. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Okay, so maybe, oh, Ashley, hold on. Ashley's here. Hey.
Hi.
How are you? We had some technical issues anyway, so we were all 5 minutes late.
Oh, that's perfect. Well, yeah. Not perfect, but
it worked out. So, well, good timing. Hey, Priscilla. Okay, so I think maybe we'll start. We can go around and say our thoughts because I think this is going to be interesting because I feel like we have all have very different experiences with the book. So, yeah.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, why don't you go first? Okay.
Well, hey y'all. I'm Ashley, Bookish Realm. I'm a regular over on Bethany's channel. I DNF'd the book. So there's my thoughts. No, I'm joking. I just couldn't get into it. It was so dry. And I think it was dry because I'm very much so I like a plot-driven book, and this definitely I feel is more a character-driven book. And it's
For
slow
sure.
because it's covering such a small portion of Fitz's life.
Right.
And not saying that I wasn't prepared for that because I kind of knew that, but it was just too slow for me. And I kept having to go back and reread or re-listen to sections, and I'm like, this is not working. And it could also be my mood too, y'all. I'm currently extremely busy, so that could have played a role. I don't want to give up on Robin Hobb. I just think maybe the timing wasn't good for me.
Yeah, which is fair because you're right. This is definitely a slower paced, more character driven story for sure. And yes,
yeah.
it is very old school fantasy.
It is.
And especially if you're busy, I can see it. And people are like, oh no, it's okay, guys. It happens. Hey, Laura.
Okay, well, similarly to Ashley, I found it very slow paced, and I I enjoy a good slow pace book, but there was a section of this that just dragged. Overall, I liked it. And I gave it 3 stars. So I'm kind of like in the middle. I like Robin Hobb's writing. I think that her writing is very good. And I think I like that old school fantasy feel. And I enjoyed following Fitz, although I didn't go into this knowing that we weren't going to get Fitz as an adult. Like I kept waiting for, like, okay, well, you know, age up now. Like,
Book 2, you get him as an adult.
So I didn't realize that we were going to be following him while he was so young.
Yeah.
But overall, I enjoyed it, just not as much as I was hoping to because of that slow pace. It was dense in some places. The writing was dense, and I found that I had to go back and like reread certain sections as well. And but overall, I enjoyed it for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Like, so it was interesting because for me, this was a reread. I've never finished the series, but I read the first book years ago, and I didn't actually expect to remember very much. But as I was reading, I was like, oh yeah, I think I know what's gonna happen, and then I would be right. And like, I remembered more than I expected to. And I really enjoyed it a lot, but I also think it was different because it was like I already kind of knew the beats of the story, so I wasn't having to like work as hard. And I do remember the first time I read it that it was like harder to get into. But yeah. So right. Yes. Yeah, I liked this too. I thought the child's perspective was interesting. But he's older in the second book. Yay! Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. The illustrations are gorgeous. Yeah, I was also looking at. I did mostly audio, but I was also like looking at the illustrations in this, and it was very pretty. Wow. Read the second half in one sitting. Yeah, I do think the second half of it is like more happens. There's more like twists and stuff.
Pace definitely picks up towards the end of the book.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have gave it a little bit more time, but
maybe.
That's why I said I don't want to give up on it yet.
Yeah.
I just think my timing is good. And also, I'm not an avid fantasy reader either.
Right.
So that also, adult fantasy and I are like oil and water. We just don't mix that well.
Yeah. We tried.
I mean, I'm trying. Like I read Jade City and absolutely loved that. And Bethany, I know that wasn't your favorite.
No, but that's very plot driven. Like
it's very plot. Yeah, it's very plot driven.
Yeah,
and that just may be the type of fantasy that I need. Is like heavy plot.
Faster. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Which is fine. Got a lot of comments. Yeah, I think this is fair. The first half is definitely a lot slower. 4 stars overall. Okay, cool. Yeah, Melissa, I think this is kind of how I feel. It's like for me, it's like the kind of book I'd want to like cuddle up with on a rainy day or something. Like, it's like that kind of like a slow, like, I don't know. Ashley, you're like, what?
It wouldn't be my first choice.
Like for me, that's what I enjoy. Like if I can really take my time with like but I mean, I read a lot of adult fantasy too. It's just like, it's a different.
Yeah. I think that's a different experience, adult fantasy, which I haven't read a lot of. So.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Awesome. Sarah loved the book, finished the first 2 books. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm more of a character-based reader, and yeah, doubling up on it. Yeah. I like the character stuff too. If you guys have anything else you want to say, feel free to.
I did listen to the audio as well. I went back and forth. The audio was really good.
I went back and forth. I did blend it.
Yeah, I think it was good too. Oh, didn't like the narrator. Priscilla didn't like the narrator. There, okay. Oh, cool. Yeah, the illustrations on this for this edition are really cool. I think originally, I didn't realize actually this is the first time it ever has been in hardcover. It only came out in paperback ever originally, until they did the like anniversary edition. Okay, this is interesting. Almost everyone says the first book is the slowest and it gets better with each book. I mean, that makes sense, I guess, because you're setting a lot of groundwork. I don't think I ever finished book 2. Like, I think I read half of it and maybe I was in grad school or something, and I just like set it down and never came back to it. So like, this is just why I want to like finally read them. Okay, cool. Seems like a lot of people are enjoying it. Did everybody read it physically or audio? But I mostly did audio. I did a little bit of blended, and it sounds like you guys both did like a blended audio and physical.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I could do physical.
Yeah. Cool.
See, and that's where my issues come in. Like we talked about at that last live show.
Oh, that's right.
I don't see anything. So
that makes sense. I could see how a book like this would be difficult if you don't see anything in your head when you read, because there's a lot of description.
And there's nothing for me. So
yeah, that would be rough.
Robin Hobb's writing is very descriptive. It can be very wordy, I've noticed.
Yeah.
I'm like, all of that just to say that? Like,
right.
I mean, we're talking pages on pages. And I can't really say anything because I have read authors who do that and I enjoy it. But in a fantastical setting, like, I don't know. And it wasn't that all of it wasn't interesting. I felt like they did poor Fitz dirty and getting passed around like that. Like, it's like, nobody wants you, so we're going to stick you here.
Yeah.
And I found that interesting. I found the relationship between him and his father. I can forget who made the comment about the fact that, because Fitz was like, I don't really think my father cared or loved me or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were trying to explain that he did what he did so he wouldn't put you in harm's way to protect you. So stuff like that, like that messy family royalty dynamic, I did enjoy, but I just felt like it moved so slow. So every time I found a point where I was like, this is juicy, this is like Jerry Springer juicy, it was almost like it did too much, and I was like, never mind, like just forget it.
I mean, it gets, and I think the thing is when you get closer to the end, there's like more of that happens, like because there's so many like plots and like betrayals and like, where did you stop? Did you ever get to the part where he was like getting trained in magic, like in the skill?
Nope.
Okay, because like the guy who trains them hates him and is like abusive to him. It's like really,
oh geez,
it's really rough. And I was like, oh, I remember reading this like forever ago, and
poor Fitz goes through so much.
Oh, Fitz goes through.
He does go through a lot. Even I forget the girl's real name, but Nosebleed. I mean, that's what I said. They named the girl Nosebleed because her father was beating her so much.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's a lot. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's she puts her characters through the ringer for sure.
She does.
Yeah. But yeah, Jessica, similarly, like I have books like this play out in my head. Do you, Laura, because we were talking about, me and Ashley in a different live show, we're talking about this. Do you see things in your head when you read?
Oh yeah. I'm a huge visual reader.
Okay. Yeah. I wonder if that contributes to liking fantasy more, like I just wonder like how much that helps with like,
I would feel like it would help to a certain extent, especially in books like this, like you said earlier, where it's very descriptive. It's a lot of, even though it's character driven, for me not being able to see as clearly as everyone else, I think that's why plot driven books are kind of more of my thing, because the action is what keeps me going. Whereas with this, where I think Robin Hobb writes in a way that's very descriptive, that allows images to play out in the minds of readers, could definitely be much more appreciated by someone who can see than someone who can't, because you're like, I get what you're trying to do, but I can't see this. So then it ends up feeling a little bit like, it ends up feeling dry, because there's nothing there. It's like, okay, I get it, but I don't see it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Sarah, I think this is interesting, like as a way of dealing with that. Like even if you don't see a lot of like looking up art, I think that's interesting. Oh, sorry, Ashley, spoilers.
Oh, no, it's okay. No, y'all go ahead and spoil.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yes, Nosy. So it turns out at the end, Nosy is not dead.
Cool. Because I was like, dang.
Yeah.
There's one companion you killed off.
I know. No, so it turns out he just sent him to like to another royal family like far away, and so like at the end of the book, although then Nosy does die saving his life.
That made me tear up. That really did. Oh my god. Like the last two sentences of the book when he's like, or before the epilogue.
Oh man. Well, and they have like, I mean, it's so sad too, because like you have like, even so in the book, the illustrated one, the last illustration, guys, if you haven't seen it, like the last illustration is like him with Nosy when Nosy has saved his life by dragging him out of the pool where someone was trying to drown him, and like it's just
wow.
Yeah. But at least he had lived a good long life, you know.
Yeah.
Wow, that's disappointing. So y'all just got me excited only to tell me that he ends up dying anyway. That's what y'all just did.
But
really,
he's an old, but he's like an old dog at that point. Like he's like he does it to save his life, and at that point he's like an older dog too. So it's just not as like
he had a happy life.
He had a happy life. Yeah,
I feel bamboozled. So y'all be like, oh yeah, Nosy comes back, but by the way, Ashley, I'm so sorry, he ends up dying.
Oh man, yeah, Nosy reunion and then saving Fitz. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's man, she like gets your emotions.
That's dirty.
It was definitely an emotional roller coaster throughout this entire book. Like terrible things just keep happening to Fitz, and then it's like one good thing, you're like, oh yeah, and then nope, something terrible happens.
Yeah. Well, okay, so it's funny. Ashley knows this. I'm like notoriously will read author's notes.
Did you read the author's notes?
I did the introduction to this edition, and it's funny because one of the things she talks about is that like she had been writing and like none of her books had done really well, or none of the things she'd written had done super well, and then she talked to somebody who told her like, you know, you can't just like treat your characters nicely all the time, basically, like you have to let bad things happen to them. And once she did that, like this is what she got.
What does that say about humanity?
I don't know.
Yep.
Well, maybe not anything bad, because then realistically in life with humans, things go wrong. Nobody's life is perfect.
Yeah, no.
So maybe people are like, you know, they could better relate to when their characters go through trials and tribulations and come out on top.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's true. She has no, but I mean, like the stakes are high. Like, you know, anything could happen. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You talking about the guy who trained him in magic?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, he was awful.
Like, the amount of times that he told Fitz to go die, I was like, oh my god, this is a child.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And tried to make him like do that to himself.
Yeah.
It's like through magic. Yeah. It's bad. Yep.
Oh, Fitz.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I mean, well, it's like a perfect example of like gaslighting and abuse, like where he isolates the students from the outside world. He gaslights them into thinking that everything he's doing is normal. Like it's wild.
Maybe it's a good thing I didn't.
man.
I've never read Tolkien either for that reason, because I've heard that he's extremely.
He's even way more so than Robin Hobb.
Yeah, I'll just stick to the movies. Yeah.
Also, Robert Jordan. Like, if you think this is dense, like.
Okay, well, see, Noria and I are supposed to start reading The Wheel of Time. Now I'm second guessing my ability to even do that.
If this was too dry, like, you are gonna hate The Wheel of Time. like, I think Wheel of Time is dry. So.
Yeah, I just need to stay away from old school fantasy, and the only reason why I wanted to do it is because I like Sanderson's fantasy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, his stuff's like much more straightforward, I think, and it's different. Yeah. He doesn't try to have like pretty writing. It's serviceable. Like, he has serviceable prose that like gives you what you need. It's kind of
what do I like to call accessible fantasy? That's what I need. Accessible adult fantasy.
Yes. I'm curious. So if we do, I feel like you probably would get on better with N.K. Jemisin, though. Like, I mean, her stuff is, I think so.
Oh yeah, I read the first book in the Inheritance trilogy and loved it.
Okay, yeah.
Jemisin was a treat for me. I ate that up. But I also feel like it was very fast paced, plot driven.
A lot happened.
Messy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Great. Have you read Jemisin, Laura?
Oh yeah. I read the Broken Earth trilogy and The City We Became. I love her.
Yeah, she's
phenomenal.
Yeah,
amazing.
Reading Emergency Skin.
Oh yeah,
that was so good. And that's 33 pages, and it was.
I know, like the amount of work she's able to do, and like, oh man, she's definitely one of my favorite authors. I'm so excited to reread the Broken Earth trilogy this fall because, like,
I will hop on for that. That's got to be a thing.
It's gonna be good. I'm excited, especially now too. It's one of those ones where you finish it, and at least I finished it and immediately wanted to reread it, knowing what I knew at the end. It's like one of those where you're like, oh, now I need to go back
and see how everything fits together. Yeah.
I'm excited about that. Okay, I know we're here to talk about Assassin's Apprentice, y'all. Sorry. Get off on like N.K. Jemisin.
You know, too, I think one of my biggest things with this book in particular too was having to straighten out like who was who and what role they played. I think I struggled with that a little bit, trying to keep everybody in line, because it is very much told like a history of his life. So he's coming across all these people, and I'm like, okay, like even with the queen, forget her name. I'm not good with names regardless, Laura. So like, if you ever do a live show with me, don't expect me. Names are not my thing.
I'm not great at it either, yeah.
But even like, it took me a second to figure out that the queen was not mother to Fitz's father or his brother, but there was like a third kid. It was all of it was just there. You see what I'm saying? Like,
you need like the family tree. Well, because it's like his grandfather is king.
Yeah.
And his grandfather's first wife was the mother of Fitz's dad and Verity.
Yes.
And then she died, and he got married to another woman, and then he had the other son. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of complicated.
Yeah, that took me a while. I was like, okay, well, whose mama is this? Like, who?
Yeah.
Just trying to put and that's probably too why I struggled. I think that, trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together and determining who was who, what role they played, and Fitz getting passed amongst people so much, it was like, I think that kind of took me out the story a little bit too. It's like playing Tetris a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because
I don't know why, but the names themselves hooked me up.
Yeah.
their like virtue and
Yes, yes.
No.
Well, they had there was like I think there was a section near the beginning where they mentioned that for some reason in history, like they'd come to believe that if you named a royal a virtue, they would embody that virtue. And so that's why the royals would be named that way. But I also thought it was funny that like Shade is the assassin, and it's really similar to Shade.
right.
Yeah.
Like it was like a lot of the names were like that, where I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was rough. Man, Fitz, I felt so bad. Like Fitz had it really rough. And she had like abandoned him and tested him.
But he was boss when he took that knife off that table, though.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you that. When I said, well, that's a low key boss move. Like, saying like, King's like, I set this up or whatever the case may be. And Fitz looks at him. King looks at him, takes that knife, and blatantly just takes it off the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I do. Yeah. I think I really enjoyed seeing Fitz like develop where his loyalties were and like have to make, especially later on, like he has to make a lot of decisions about like what he's going to do in really difficult situations. And I think it's interesting. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it feels very true to life. It's definitely not sugar coated, but it's not like totally bleak either.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see. Oh, I want to read Son of the Storm. That's good to hear.
Look at the cover.
It has such a pretty cover.
I feel like I've seen it.
I have a copy. I haven't read it yet, but it's so
Yes,
pretty.
that cover. Yes, I have seen that.
Such a good cover.
Yes, pretty cover.
Yeah, Beth, I never got through Wheel of Time either. I think I read like 2.5 books of it and just it was one with it. You know what? Wheel of Time is one of those ones that I think would make a great adaptation because the plot is good and the characters are good, but it takes forever for anything to happen.
Are they doing an adaptation?
They are, yeah. Like I would watch the adaptation. I just like the books are a slog.
Yeah, I heard that middle section is rough of that series.
Yeah. What else is good? I plan to read Lord of the Rings. It's like one of those things I feel like as a big fantasy reader, like I need to like have read all of them at some point.
Yeah.
I go to my grave perfectly fine without having read them.
I read the first one. I read Fellowship of the Ring in like high school, and it was very slow, but I'm gonna try. I loved the movies.
I read The Hobbit for the first time this year, but I haven't.
Oh, that one's fun. I liked it. That was one. That one's like more accessible too, because it was written originally for kids. It's not quite as
we actually still keep it in the kids section.
Oh, nice. That's cool. That's a good one. Good luck, Sarah, with the Wheel of Time if you do those. Okay. Oh, sorry, Tammy. I don't know if you're still here, but good luck on the readings. Yes, let's talk about The Fool. The Fool is so interesting. Did you guys have any thoughts on?
Very intrigued.
The Fool? Yeah, same. I mean, because he's like, oh, okay. Like Ashley, I don't know how much you actually saw of The Fool. Did you get
not a lot?
Okay. Because he's really interesting. There's like a whole scene where Fitz goes up to his room and sees it, and then like the Fool ends up like taking care of his because he gets a new puppy, and so like the Fool ends up taking care of the puppy for him while he's doing all the training with the awful guy. And like, I don't know, he's really interesting. Is he clearly like he people think he's crazy, but I think knows he gets like prophecies or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely felt like he was warning Fitz a lot of times, and like he knew things.
Yeah. I know, like I've seen, I haven't read all of the books, but I've heard that like he shows up in almost all of her books. So he's like, yeah. And like, I think, yeah. And that he's also like older than he looks, or like ages really slowly or something. And so like, because of that, he shows up in like all these different stories as like a side character. Just like really interesting. Get to know him better in a later trilogy. Interesting. So yeah, maybe we get his backstory at some point. That would be fascinating. I was curious because he even has like the baby, like a doll in his room that looks like an actual baby. I was like, what is that about? Like, I feel like there's like clues. I don't know. I don't know. Oh yeah, Cod and Cobb. Yeah, the names. That's fair. Yes, Jessica, I agree. I think that's kind of cool. Oh, let's see. Where else do we have? Oh man, I'm like gonna lose track of where I was at. Where was I? Okay, here we go. Yes, yeah. Patience was an interesting character. Yeah, Patience was an interesting character. Well, because I think she was, I guess especially given when these were written, that she was addressing like women's responses to infertility is kind of interesting, because that's kind of what you're getting with Patience, who's the mom of his dad, or the wife of his dad, because she was angry and hurt mostly because she had wanted a child and couldn't conceive.
Right.
But then she ends up sort of like deciding, well, you should have been mine, and like taking fits on, and like, I don't know if you guys have thoughts on that.
I know that that scene when she like broke down and she was like, you should have been mine. That was emotional.
Yeah.
Oh, Patience.
I know.
Everybody was going through it.
I know, everyone.
Everybody was going through it.
Yeah, it was like rough for everybody, but yeah, sure too. Yeah, same. I have a lot to read. Oh, this is so funny. Prefer Lord of the Rings to The Hobbit so hard. I know a lot of people have very strong feelings about it. It's funny. Yeah. Burrich, guys. Yeah, the thing about the wit. It made me so sad that he would just be like, no, I can't have anything to do with you if you're going to use it. And then we find out it's because he has it and it scares him.
Right.
And he refuses to use it.
Need some therapy, that's all.
What?
He just needs some therapy.
He does.
I didn't like him, but from what I read of him, I didn't like him. But here we go. Because the only thing I can relate it to. I have a comic book character that I hate and love at the same time. Like, I like this person, but I also hate this person. Yeah. And that is Batman's son, Damian Wayne. And he's awful. He's an awful human, but it's because he's so scared of a lot of things. He has a lot of issues, a lot of daddy issues, abandonment issues. And the two of them kind of remind me, although Damian is much younger, the two of them kind of remind me of each other. They're not good people, but their trauma has made them not so good people. So yeah, he was interesting to read. From what I did read, he was interesting to read.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel bad for him a lot of the time, because it's like clear that he's like doing the best he can, but exactly what you said is that he's got trauma, and that's affecting how he treats Fitz. Yeah, it's rough. Yes, the Fool clearly has magical abilities or prophecy or something, and it's unclear like what it is. It's interesting. Oh, Jessica. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, because Burrich is kind of like a father figure, and then is like, Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jess. That's an
Mhm.
interesting analysis.
What?
Jess
Where?
said, am I the only one who thought, yeah, that one.
No, I thought that too.
That's interesting.
I thought that too. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. There were a couple of things like that, actually. Like, there were a couple of, like, relationships that to me read as, like, queer-coded but toxic. Like, so, yeah. That's interesting. But no, well, the other weird thing too is we find out, I don't remember his name, but the creepy guy who was like the skill master, that it turned out, yeah. So it turned out that he was actually the half brother of the third prince. That he was, yeah, so that like the second queen had, I guess, cheated or something. He was like her bastard.
Right.
It was like a family drama.
Jerry Springer. What?
A lot.
Rewind.
So,
Rewind.
okay, so I don't know if you met him at all, but he was always kind of creepy. Galen, is that what you said? Galen or something? So he's the guy who was like abusive teaching magic, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it turns out that he is actually the bastard son of the second queen and the half brother of the third prince. Notice like messy. So much. It's very messy.
What did Galen look like?
He was like skinny, like super skinny, and wore like tight clothes that accentuated his skinniness.
Who was the guy with the? Okay, no, that wasn't him. I don't think I. Mm-mm.
Okay.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now there's a high chance.
Are you going to go finish this book now?
yeah, just for the Jerry Springer. Even though I know, people are like, why would you read it even if you know? Because it's different from knowing and then watching it play out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, let me tell you also, I mean, if you don't mind the spoilers, like near the end, his half brother, that third prince, tries to have him end up dead.
Why is royalty so messy? You know,
the power of the throne, I guess. I don't know. Like,
this is the original Game of Thrones while you're playing.
I mean,
legitimately.
Yeah, legitimately.
This is the original.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
He's in love with Fitz?
I don't know that I would say he's in love with him. Like, he cares about him. I mean, Fitz is a kid, like, for him. Like, I wouldn't say in love with him, but he cares, he cares about him. But I don't know. Here we go. Oh, that is interesting. It's been read this way. Maybe, yes, this is how I read it also, that he can see that Fitz is important and the Fool sees it and knows he matters. But that's an interesting reading of it. I wonder if that's more from future books when Fitz is older.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Drama.
I don't know.
Whatever ends up happening to does she say anything about Nosebleed? I forget the girl's real name. That's sad.
Molly,
thank you.
Yeah, like they kind of meet up and he has a crush on her, but she's 2 years older than him. And like she kind of leaves an opening and he's freaked out and like doesn't take it. And so she ends up dating some other guy, but he still kind of like carries a torch for her. That's kind of where it was left.
Yeah.
So.
I did read them re-meeting and her not recognizing him at first, but I didn't know what happened to her.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I think she shows up again, maybe. I don't remember exactly. The wit with Smithy saved Fitz. Yes. So yeah, this is what's interesting is that like the wit saves Fitz's life. Like if he hadn't continued to use the wit, even though Birch didn't want him to, he would have died. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally forgot. I don't know who you forgot about, but
Galen.
maybe Galen. Galen is the worst. Oh, I did not like him. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's that. Yes. Yes. I can see that.
Not a whole soul tie. But you know what? I do believe that you can find a soulmate in someone that is a friend. It doesn't necessarily have to be,
Yes. Yeah.
you know,
absolutely.
a partner. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah. Look. Yeah. You know what?
Fancy hair and all.
It's totally yes. He is like the original Snape. I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have a complex too if my mama didn't claim me, but she's sitting up on the throne, living life with her other son.
Yeah.
They keep it quiet. Well, and then we find out too, I don't know if you saw this part, but like we also find out that Chade is the bastard brother of the king. They hide all their bastards. They keep them close so they don't have to kill them. And they hide them.
Basically, the whole family was romping around ineffectively, not safely, getting everybody pregnant.
Yeah.
So now we have this big extended. You know what I'm going to do? If I finish this book, I think I need to get a piece of paper and a pen.
Do a family tree.
And do the family tree.
Totally
because ain't no way. That's crazy. I mean, I probably not far off from reality for a lot of royal families.
Yeah.
Well, the bastards are running on talking about they just want a piece of the pie. They didn't choose to be a bastard.
No. Well, I mean, I think that's the thing is it's like they have to make themselves useful and not dangerous. Because if they're dangerous, they'll kill them. You know, like because if they're a threat to the power, the heirs will kill them off.
It is. It appears to be.
Yeah. Interesting.
Hey.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
He shot his shot.
He didn't though. He
didn't shoot a shot at all?
No. Well, so what happens is they go off on a walk and she kind of leaves an opening where it's clear that she wants him to kiss her and he just like freezes up.
So she shot her shot.
And he didn't know what to do. So he just ignored it. Yeah. Okay, she shows up in the second book. There you go. Maybe he'll get another chance.
Beth is a trip.
Man. This is true. Yeah. He's like a cross between Snape and Umbridge.
Yeah.
He's like halfway in between. It's like if Snape and Umbridge had a baby, it would be Galen.
Yeah. That whole thought process in my head.
Yeah.
That is nasty. Okay? All right? And I typically, when we say we don't yuck anybody's yum, but I'm yucking.
You don't want that fanfic?
I do not want that fanfic. Oh, no, wait. It could be interesting. May need to release all that anger and tension and frustration at the world, maybe to do them both some good.
I mean, that's true. They might be nicer people.
They might be nicer people. Yeah, you're right. They might be.
Oh boy, that's so funny. Okay, so there are a couple of family trees online.
Thank you, Sarah.
I mean, it's been around long enough. There should be, and it is messy.
Yeah. Somebody had to sit down and say, I got to map this out. Because
Yeah. That's so funny. Right. Yeah, the forged people are super creepy.
They are.
Right?
They are.
Yeah, they are.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, and it's interesting that like he senses people through their bonds with each other. Like that whole like thing of him realizing that that's an ability he has was interesting.
Wait. Okay. Somebody unconfuse me here.
Yeah.
What was up with the woman and the dog?
The woman and the dog.
It was a woman holding a dog. And I thought that Fitz thought it was a child, but it ended up being a dog.
Oh, yeah. I remember the new wife of the Baron or whatever.
What in the world? I was so confused because I was just confused.
Okay. So the whole thing with that was their problem was that these raiders were getting too easy access because this Baron was not effectively manning the tower and whatever with good men because he was distracted by buying his new young pretty wife all this stuff and just paying attention to her and wasn't giving money to like anyway all this stuff. So but like so the whole thing is Fitz solves this problem by helping her with her dog because she treats it like a baby, but like it almost died because she let it eat stuff and it got a fishbone stuck in his throat. So he helped with the dog and like told her what to do with it. And then she was like, thank you. Like, what do you want? Let me give you anything. And he's like, well, you know, you could like, I had this idea of like, you could be this amazing woman that everyone would look up to if you like said, oh, we must like make sure that everybody is safe and like have your like basically pushing her to like get her husband to do his job properly.
Yeah.
It was that, and then the lady who stunk but really wasn't.
That was actually Chade.
That was. I was like, what? That's what I'm talking about, y'all. I'm like, who is this woman that smells so bad? And then we figure out that it's not actually, and I'm like, what is going on here? Because that to me, even though I couldn't visually see it, it made me gag. Because I was like, that's just nasty, okay?
Which is the point. It's so people wouldn't get too close and realize that it was actually Chade, like a man, like dressed, like I mean, I think that was the idea. But yeah,
the whole thing was hilarious.
It was so funny.
I was like, that's so disgusting.
That was something I had remembered because like when she came out, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I remember this. I think she's actually Chade dressing up like a woman to be a spy. And then I was like, yeah, that was what it was. So I was like, okay, like that stuck in my head, I guess, from from the first time. Oh man. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, yes, for sure. The Forged are terrifying. I mean, they're basically like emotional zombie. Like, yeah, they're very creepy. Yeah. Yep.
They never explained, or it never got explained in this book how that was happening, right?
No, I think that comes up in. I vaguely remember something about this. Like, I'm wondering if I read. I don't know. It was a long time ago, and I get some of my fantasy books mixed up. So I'm not sure if like the thing I remember is actually from the series or from a similar series. So like, I don't know. But yeah, I'm sure it'll get dealt with. Wow. 400 pages on character timelines and places is the reading companion. That is Wild. Oh my
Wow.
goodness. Right? Angela. I know, right? You can't make a move on the girl, but you can do all these complex schemes.
But you know, some people are like that, though. That's so true. That's true. There's some people who could do all this crazy stuff, and then you put them in front of someone that they're interested in. They're like, I can't do this.
Yeah. Oh man. It's like I can assassinate somebody, but kiss a girl? No.
Kiss a girl? No, never.
Oh man. Yeah. This does happen sometimes. Like I do feel like there are people who take it to extremes a little bit with treating like dogs like babies, but
Like putting them in strollers.
Oh.
yeah. People do, you know what though? People do that a lot here. So I think I've gotten immune to it because it's like.
I'm not used to that. I got so confused because the lady was pushing a stroller. You know, you look, I'm looking for a kid. And then there was a dog. I was like, never mind.
Yeah, I mean, they have strollers that are specifically designed, I think, for dogs, like, which I see here sometimes. I think it's like living in New York City, like a lot of people have dogs, and so not all of them do that, but like it's common enough that I've stopped noticing it. But yeah, I think the first time I saw it was pretty weird too. That's funny. Yes, yeah. Shade tried to find out how the forging is done. I mean, it's something to do with those red ship raiders. I mean, they're doing something and they're just destroying stuff. So I'm like, what are they up to? I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see. That was so gross. Yes.
Oh
Yeah. Yeah. It's very interesting. Interesting. Oh my goodness. Okay, Leah, this is a good point, a fair point. Some people put their dogs in strollers because they're old and they have difficulty walking. I mean, that makes sense.
That's understandable.
Yeah. You find out more about what? Oh, I think people are asking, like, do you find out more about this in the Live Ship Traders series? Yeah. Well, Ashley, you'll have to, if you go back and finish this, let us know your thoughts and if you want to, like, continue on.
I will. I definitely will.
And people do seem to be saying it, like, picks up quite a bit. Okay.
It seems like the second half picks up.
It does. Like, a lot happens in the second half. So I think, yeah, I just like didn't mind it. I really like her writing, and I just enjoyed it. Plus, but I do think it was different because it was, again, like I was rereading it, so it was more like reacquainting myself with a story and characters I already knew. And I was surprised at how much they stuck with me. I mean, she has pretty, memorable characters, I guess you could say. Royal Assassin is your favorite? Okay, cool.
Is that the third one?
No, it's the second one.
Oh, the second one?
Yeah. The first was only okay for you. Okay, so Angela only liked this one okay and really liked Royal Assassin. So
okay. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. Yes, you do get a lot more plot and plotting in the back half of this book for sure. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Other things. Thoughts. I had fun with it. I think the characters are really memorable. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think getting to spend time with Fitz, you really grow to love him and feel for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I really enjoyed seeing his relationship develop with Verity. Like at the end, I really liked them together. It was so, I don't know. It was just, that was really sweet. And then I also liked how he, like, everything that happens at the end is so wild, but like his interaction with the betrothed. Although I was not expecting the dude to actually die.
I didn't expect that either.
No, I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna get around this, and then he died. I was like,
yeah,
Robin Hobb, like,
oh my gosh.
Oh, that was wild.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, we have comments. Let's see. Were you surprised at any of the twists?
I felt like I was constantly surprised with each twist. I was like, wait, what? Every time we found out like who someone really was, or especially at the end, when we found out that it was Regal and Gallant.
Yeah.
That whole plot. That was completely shocking for me.
Yeah. I think like the main thing that really I was like shocked by was the guy actually dying of the poison, because I was like what? But yeah, no, that plot at the end too, I had kind of forgotten how that had all gone down. Yeah. I think some of the earlier stuff I still remembered, so it wasn't as shocking, but yeah. Ashley, I know you read like half of it. Did anything surprise you?
No. No. I think because I don't think I got to any point in which there were any major reveals. I don't think I got that far. Okay. I think that I was still mainly in the part where we were getting just a lot of character development with Fitz.
Right.
And the continuous meeting of new characters and seeing how everybody fit together in the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
So clearly, I have a lot of family drama that has not been covered yet. So nothing surprised me, not because there was nothing to, so clearly there was a lot that I missed, but I don't think I made it far enough in to get to those. Yeah. So
I feel like you probably were close to where things really started.
I feel like I was very close to the point where things were about to start getting crazy, and I just gave up. I'm not a quitter, y'all. But this one, this is like, I usually don't, even when books are not, Bethany could tell y'all that, anytime, like I usually push through, but for some reason with this, I was like,
yeah,
don't do this. And I'm almost glad that I didn't, because I feel like if I would have pushed through and not taken a break from it, I would have ended up giving it a lower rating than what it deserved. And I feel like by not finishing it and maybe going back and trying again, and when I'm in a different headspace, I probably will enjoy it a second go round, as opposed to trying to push through when I know, like right now, I wouldn't have given it fair judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Live ship traders and all 5 stars. Good to know.
Yeah.
I loved Verity too. Yes, I agree. I think Verity is very underrated. Something about, Chad's lineage. Yeah. The Chad lineage thing wasn't too surprising. I think he kind of hinted at some of it, but I'm definitely going to continue on with the series.
Yes. Yes, I will too.
Cool.
I guess where I was like, Well, we know Ashley's probably not going to. Don't do that to me, Melissa.
That's okay.
I think if I give myself maybe a week break from it, see how I feel, get through that second half, and then dive into the second one. We'll see what happens.
Okay,
never say never with me, because I'll DNF a book and a month later.
You let us know.
Yeah.
Also, Angela, if you decide you want to do a reread and hop on here, you are more than welcome. She's like, I know she's read them. She's like in the comments. It's really be fun. Like no pressure, but oh man, the illustrated editions are very nice. The illustrations are beautiful, but they're expensive. I understand. Yeah. Verity is a great character. Yay, all the love for Verity. Yeah, the death was shocking. I'm glad I wasn't the only one. I agree with this. Like, nothing comes out of left field, which I appreciate. Like, she does foreshadow like a little bit, and I think it's probably part of why it's a good one to reread, because then you can see the foreshadowing if you kind of know what's coming. It always bothers me when people like actually like things happen and I'm like, where did that come from? You just like threw that in there. I don't know. You might.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Good luck. Yeah, it's a longer one, which is fair. It'll be fun. At some point I want to do this, Angela, but I don't know. It's probably not going to happen this year because I have too many other plans for the fall, but next year, maybe. So I will keep that in mind. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to talk about with this. And if you guys have anything else. That was most of I wondered this also. What Chade meant when he said the fool was bought and paid for by the king. Yeah, I'm like, was he a slave? Like, what does that mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I wondered that also. Yeah.
A lot of mystery surrounding the fool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting. Well, we're at about an hour, so I don't know if people have like other thought. Like I think we've kind of covered most of the things I was thinking about going into this. I don't know if anybody has other like final thoughts. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars, but I totally understand why not everybody would. I just like really, it was something I really enjoyed a lot. So
I'm excited to continue on and see what happens because I have a lot of questions and I'm excited to see where Fitz goes next.
Yeah, I've been meaning to read a bunch of her books for so many years and not getting to them. So I'm excited to be finally like making some progress on the series. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm curious to see what happens too. Yeah, I feel like probably, I mean, he kind of knows it, just not very well. But I mean, you would think, I don't know. I have heard like bad stuff continues to happen to him. So I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
I've heard that too.
Oh man. Yeah. Yay! Well, I'm glad it was fun. Thanks for joining. All right. Well, thanks guys. Hopefully this was fun for everybody. Thanks for joining us to discuss it. Verity, yes, Verity needs help, Jessica. You are, yes, he does. He needs the support. I feel so bad for him. Ugh, just like wasting away.
I know.
Like all those skills. Like, oh, I really hope the marriage goes well for him with his new wife.
I really like her.
Know. I like her too. Like, I want good things for Verity.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that'll be it. So we'll be back next month to talk about Royal Assassin. I'm gonna say, well, probably it'll be on my channel because Ashley's not sure if she's gonna keep going with this.
Just go ahead and put it on your channel.
So it'll be okay. So it'll be on my channel the last Friday of July to talk about Royal Assassin. And yeah, thanks for joining us, everybody. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.